So, you know, it hurts when someone like Charles Barkley, with the platform he has, says you're not the same player prior to the injuries you have. It's like, no duh, man. I tore my ACL and my Achilles in consecutive years and still help a team win a championship. I mean, it hurt hearing that because it's like, man, I put in so much freaking effort to get back to this point. Like, it's hard to even put into words. I don't know. It just hurt my heart hearing that. But you know what? I'm going to internalize it, and it's going to be fuel for me to be even better. And I'm not going to let these injuries be a crutch for me. I'm just going to keep going, and I'm going to have a great year. I bet on that.
It's for Lamb on the other side. Clay's got a good look. His three is good. And Klay cut without the ball. Klay three. Get the ball to Klay and get out of the way. Klay three.
Over the last few months, we've seen exactly what happens when you give someone time, because after receiving a good amount of criticism over his play to start the season, Klay Thompson has been playing some of the best basketball of his entire career, putting up numbers that he has never done before, and doing so every time his team needs it. And that's what we're going to be talking about today. We're going to talk about the season that Klay Thompson is currently having, and what it has meant to this Warriors team. So let's get into the video. After the start the Warriors had to the season, people started to think that maybe the Warriors that we once knew were gone, a feeling that was being amplified by the performance of Klay Thompson towards the start of the year, because in his first 10 games of the season, he averaged just 14 points and shot 35% from the field, which led to people like Charles Barkley saying things like this.
I think you saw tonight, he's like, this young boy is kicking my ass. Ain't nothing I can do about it. There was a time when Klay Thompson was the best two-way guard in the NBA, and he's not the same guy.
But it wasn't just Chuck, because throughout the last year or so, he's heard criticism time and time again about his play, and how he might never get back to being the player that he once was, which then led to Klay Thompson sharing this on his Instagram story. "My belief is stronger than your doubt. I promise you it's coming, and when it does, the floodgates will open." Well, he is definitely a man of his word, because just 1 week after this, he would have arguably his best game since his injuries, dropping 41 points and hitting 10 threes against the Houston Rockets in a road game the Warriors desperately needed to win. And that was great, but the real conversation is about what he's been doing after the new year, because in the year 2023, he is currently averaging 26 points, shooting 46% from the field, and shooting 44% from three, while hitting 5 per game. And like I said before, he is currently playing some of the best basketball of his entire career, possibly even better than what he was doing before he got injured back in 2019. The Warriors have obviously been going through a lot this season, and with the losses of both Stephen Curry and Andrew Wiggins due to various injuries and off-court issues, and the team just drastically underperforming even when they were there, they have been in need of a spark, and that's exactly what he's doing. So what changed? Well, part of it was what he was talking about at the start of the video: time. Because although he had been back playing basketball for nearly half a season last year, it was still pretty clear that he needed some more time to actually get back to where he wanted to be. We have to remember that he missed 2.5 years with various injuries. He obviously wasn't going to be 100% Klay right when he got back, but he had been showing flashes, and it became apparent that it was just a matter of time. Another part of his increased production has been opportunity, because like I said before, Steph Curry and Andrew Wiggins have both missed considerable amounts of time this season, so the Warriors needed offense from somewhere. And while the $140 million man in Jordan Poole has been playing better as of late, he still has had glaring issues that the Warriors are clearly skeptical about, mainly his decision making during key points of games, and also just forgetting how to dribble. Like, it's insane. Like, I've never seen someone fall down like this so consistently for no reason. And so the Warriors needed help, and those factors would lead to Klay Thompson handling the ball a lot more, mainly during the absence of both Steph and Andrew. And the result of those two main things is exactly what we've been seeing in the 2023 calendar year. And it started with the Warriors game against the Atlanta Hawks, where they won in double overtime thanks to 54 points from Klay Thompson, the second most points he's ever scored in a game, behind only his 60-point game way back in 2016. And since since then, the floodgates have indeed opened. He's had 4 games with 40 or more points this season, which ties his personal record for most 40-point games in a single season, but 3 of them have been in 2023, and he is currently setting 3-point records that even his own teammate Steph Curry has never set. In 2 of those 40-point games, he hit 12 3-pointers, which made him the first player in NBA history to have multiple games of 12 or more threes in the same season. But it hasn't just been about explosions like this. It's also been about sustained high-level play, because in the month of January, he averaged 27 points per game in the 10 games that he played, which made this the highest scoring month of his entire career, excluding April last year since they only played 3 games. The very next month, February, he averaged 25.5 points per game, which made it the 3rd highest scoring month of his entire career. He's been absolutely incredible in a season that the Warriors desperately needed, and I feel like I should remind everyone, the man tore his ACL in his left leg, then tore his Achilles in his right leg, missed 2 full years, and he is having arguably the best season of his entire career. A career that was already great, but not great enough to be a top 75 player apparently. So all of that is cool and all, but what does this mean for the Warriors moving forward? Because they're still battling a bunch of teams for seeding positions. Well, it puts them in a pretty interesting spot, because while it's clear that they still have some issues to work out, it's also clear that they are making a much needed improvement in an area where they badly needed it, because they have a record of 6-4 in their last 10 games, but they've won 5 in a row, and they did it with over 50 points per game on the bench in street clothes. And this is happening because of the improvement that they've made on the defensive end, particularly in the second half. We've heard of the 3rd quarter Warriors for close to a decade now, but that usually meant, by the way, yes, close to a decade. I know we are getting old, but 3rd quarter Warriors usually meant all-time great offense and insane scoring runs. But the Warriors have been doing it on the other end of the floor in their recent stretch of games, because in the last 10 games, they have had the 3rd best defense in the second half. And if we're talking about their last 5 games, this is what we're looking at. And I guarantee some of the people watching this that know a bit about advanced stats just looked at this like, what the actual hell? Because a defensive rating of under 90 in today's NBA is almost too great to even conceptualize. It just doesn't happen. Now, granted, it is a small sample size, but it definitely shows that this team is still capable. And now, Stephen Curry is coming back again. And he may even be cleared to play by the time you see this, at which point they will be off on a difficult road trip trying to find their groove just before the season ends. But if their recent play keeps up, I think they definitely will, which makes this video from last week look completely insane now all of a sudden. But it's fine, because that's a good thing. I'm not exactly sure what this team is going to do this season, but I am sure of one thing, and it's that none of this would be possible without Klay Thompson keeping this team afloat. Because without him having possibly the best season of his entire career, who knows what this team would be doing right now. But with all that being said, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Subscribe if you're new, hit the bell to be notified when I upload, comment down below what you want to see next, and as always, I'll see you guys in the next one.